Hey guys, welcome back to my podcast. I am God's Loner and I'm back with another episode. In today's episode, I am going to be speaking on something a little bit personal because I feel like it is very personal to everybody else, although it's a common thing or it's like a religion. But I personally think that having a relationship with God and being a Christian are two different things. I mean, yes, they do fall under the same thing, but I feel like they all differ because having a relationship with God is something on a deeper personal level, and being of a religion, is something that includes a whole community of people. So today, I wanted to talk about having a relationship with God, not necessarily telling you that you should. Well, I mean, I would suggest it. It is very much a suggestion that I am suggesting. But, you know, as a human being, I've never really been able to go to another human being and say, hey, you should really become a Christian. Like, you should really know God. I don't know how to do this whole thing of telling people about God, because one thing I've got to understand, one thing I like to emphasize on, is that the relationship that we all have with God is different, and that we're all gonna experience God in a different way. But would I encourage you to pursue God? That sounded weird. But to pursue a relationship with God, yes, I would. I won't tell you how, because it's different for all of us. But get to know Him. And one of the main questions that I've gotten, that I've never been able to answer is, well, how? 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 Well, how I like telling people about God is through my own personal story. Yeah, through my own personal story. I feel like it's much more realistic, than telling people that, well, God can perform miracles, God can heal people, God can. Yes, He can. Yes, He can. But how I knew God is totally contradicting to everything that I just said, like the good parts. Because as Christians, I feel like Christians really, 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 really like talking or telling people about the good sides of being a Christian, and they never really talk about the not necessarily the bad sides, but the sides that are more realistic and what it is like really being a Christian. And I feel like one of the hardest things also is people assuming that as Christians we know all the answers. Like, people will literally walk up to you and be like, well, if God is real, then why are there bad things happening in the world? Or why is there so much, like, I don't know. I don't know. But I do know because God gave us choice. And I'll speak about that part. Like, I just want to do further research on it, so I don't just come up here and just start like spreading false facts. So I just want to, like, first understand it, educate myself, write down realistic facts, and in my next episodes I'll tell you, maybe, I don't know when, but I will one day. But right now, having a relationship with God for me has been so different. The thing is, I feel like as human beings, right, we all search for like a sense of liberation, a sense of like freedom, like to just like for everything to just feel soft, everything to just feel light, man. And I was 2021. Hey, 2021 has been a really hard year for me, to be honest. And I had so much on my shoulders that I used to sit in my room and I'd think to myself, how am I even going to move past this position that I'm at? And bear in mind, my relationship with God then was not necessarily strong. Like, yeah, I'd go to church, and that's about it. I didn't even own a Bible. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily ever pray, you know, whatever, all those type of things. Yeah, but like, so I was going through like the toughest moment, the toughest season, really, in my life, and I did not know what it is I was gonna do. Like, I think I hit the hardest, the lowest, the most extreme part of my depression. Like, when depression gets that bad to the point where you think of like giving up and just like ending it all. Like, I just can't even move on, and God, I kid you not, God. And every time I talk about this, it's just so emotional. It's just so emotional because at times we feel like we're so alone, and we feel like we're nobodies in certain situations. And God, see, I'm not saying God came and he took it all away and he lifted it all up. But the thing is, when that moment when I had no one, or that moment when I felt like I was most alone, he stuck around. And it obviously sounds unrealistic to somebody who's not faith-based, or it sounds way too cliche, or it sounds overrated. But do you know the sense of the reason why? Let me just lay this foundation. God has never let me down in any circumstance or any situation in my life. Yes, at times he showed up, and at times he didn't necessarily show up when I wanted him to. But at that time when he did show up, he showed up at the exact time and exact moment he knew was right for me. So when I was like, God, I need it now, he's like, just wait. Yes, at times I would lose my faith, and at times I lose hope, because I was like, are you even hearing me? Because I'm praying and I'm praying and I've been praying, bro. I've been here for like so long, and you're not even showing up. But when he does show up, it hits me with so much awe, because I'm just like, how is it that you did not show up when I wanted to, but it's still at the right time? God has never let me down. That's why I trust him so much with everything that I have. Situations where I feel like I don't have, or it's out of my control. Situations where I feel like I don't have any control over. Situations where I feel like I'll never get out of. I'm just like, God, here it is. I am giving it all to you, because right now I'm freaking out. If I do this by myself, there's a chance that I might actually lose my mind and whatever is left of my mental health. So please just take it out of my hands before I lose myself and my sanity. And giving that type of prayer, not necessarily like that, but giving a prayer of sacrifice of, God, here it is, my situation. Be it good, be it bad, be it heavy, be it light, be it small, be it big, here it is. It creates so much sense of light. So much sense of light. Lightness. There's just so much peace knowing that I have the situation, yes, but it's not for me to control. I just give it for somebody else to just imagine, like giving everything that you have to somebody else, like your schoolwork, your work, whatever it is that you're worrying about. Like, you know what? Yeah, it's kind of mine, but can you like deal with it for me? And they actually say, yeah, sure, no problem. I actually can do this. It's actually nothing for me. Having that, and you're probably thinking, but how? Because majority of us, our faith is so small. We want things that we can actually see. We want things that, like, we want it now. We want to see it. We want to be like, we want assurance that it's actually going to happen. Our faith is just not strong enough for us to just believe in something that we cannot see, right? And I understand. Believe me, when I gave it all to God the first time, I was so anxious. I was like, yo, are you seriously going to give everything up? Like, give it up. Like, you're just going to give it all up and give it to this higher power, this God. And I stand today and I will tell you, it's the best choice I've ever made. The best decision I've ever made was giving it all to God. Yes, I was scared. Yes, I was in doubt. It's normal. It's normal. People think that as Christians we have it all figured out. We don't. It is normal to feel doubt, to feel scared at times, to have trust issues with God. It is normal. That's why we pray about it. I pray this prayer, this whole God, please help me with my doubt. Help me when I am in doubt. Help me when I doubt what you can do. Because he's proven countless of times, even when he didn't need to, he did prove that he's capable, more than capable. Yet I still stand and I'm like, God, can you though? Like, I mean, it's just, this is not the same as my last one, you know? The previous one was smaller than this one though. Can you, like, you know? And at times he does answer our prayers, but just not in ways that we want to. But it is in ways that are way better than we expected. That's for sure. That's one thing I'll guarantee you. It's, you will pray for something and he won't give it to you the way that you wanted to. But is it better? Yes, that I can definitely guarantee. It's way better. It's way better than we expected. Because we know what we want, but he knows what we need. Yeah, I'm gonna let that one marinate. We know what we want, but he knows what we need. So yes, of course, at times he's gonna do things in the way that he knows best. He knows best. He formed you in your mother's womb, but he knows best. Yes, you feel like you've got all the knowledge and research on a certain situation that you're in, but he knows best. And the beginning of this podcast, I pointed out the whole, we all experience God differently. See, I've noticed that majority of us, no, all of us, no, majority of us, because not all of us, you know, are Christians, but if you're listening till this far, you probably are, right? Or you probably want to know God. And one thing I've realized, I really hope you got this far in order for you to grasp this amount of information. And that is, we have all, if you're a Christian, we have all gotten interpretations of God from other people instead of God himself. Hence, a lot of us run away from Christianity. It's because we think that Christianity is some sort of way, or relationship with God is some sort of way. So we don't want it because it seems like it's a lot of work, because it seems like it's not necessarily fun, because it feels like we have to cut off from certain things or certain people. You know, once I did that. It's funny. At this age that I am, that I only got to know God. I've literally, I was given the resources of knowing God. I went to church, everything. You know, God was introduced to me at a young age, but I only had a relationship with him last year. Only because I shut the world out. Because people would tell me, God does not like that. God does. I mean, some things are pretty obvious. I mean, some things are pretty obvious, but there are other things that I never really understood. You know, especially as a musician, people will tell me that, oh, if you're a Christian, you should probably only sing gospel. And I stand there like, well, then if this is what Christianity is, then I don't want it. You know, until I actually spoke to God about it, and I was like, God, listen, I want to have a relationship with you, but I mean, I do want to sing, you know, praising your name and worshiping and everything, but I also want to sing about things that we experience as human beings. You know, I also want to sing about love. I want to sing about happiness. I want to sing about everything that I've went through in my life, because, you know, I want to tell my story through music, and I've went through so much that I can't, you know, necessarily fit it all in gospel, so to say, you know. And I was like, I expected, actually, the response, I don't know what the response was necessarily. Share these type of things, it's kind of awkward and, I don't know, hard, but like, the response I got from God was like so, like, different than what I expected, because I thought, you know, he'd probably like condemn me or convict me. I don't know what the word is. And God would be like, no, only sing. But then, no. This is how he revealed his answer to me. This is how he revealed, because majority of us think God talks to us in like a deep voice from heaven that we can only hear. First of all, let me tell you something. That's weird and that's creepy. But maybe there are people out there, because I don't know. But for me, that would literally freak me out if there was just a random voice in the atmosphere. That would be really creepy. But one thing I recognized when I asked God, Lord, like, can I sing about other things? And God showed me this book in the Bible, Songs of Songs. The thing is, the Bible talks about God, Jesus, everything that happened, but that specific book in the Bible, Songs of Songs, is literally out of context to the whole Bible, but it's still in it. It's a whole book in the Bible that's like poems, love poems between a man and a woman, and I'm like, well, that's different. That's different. And yeah, it was just, it hit me, like, it just hit me, like, I don't know how it hit me or why it hit me, but it did. It hit me, and I just sat there and I was like, wow, and I was like, why is it that you thought it would be wrong to sing about things like love when God is love? Happiness is things that we all, those are fruits of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Yes, I know them all because we recite them in preschool, so thank you. But that's what I'm saying. When I went to God personally, me and God, and I spoke to him instead of speaking to somebody else, because people, we're all on a different level, not on a different level of knowledge and wisdom, because there are some people who know more about God than we do, but nobody knows more about our journey with God than us, personally, ourselves, and God. So why would you ask somebody else about the story of your own life? Just think about that. Why would you go ask your mom or your dad or your pastor about your own life instead of asking God, the maker of your own life? It didn't make any sense. And it's sad that I missed all these years of getting to know God and his love and his freedom only because I let other people's opinions of him influence the relationship that I wanted with him. And it sucked, but it's okay. We move on, we forget the past, and we accept the present, and we hope for the future. But let me just tell you something. That I hope it also marinates with you, dude. But don't let anybody define the relationship that you have with God. Don't let anybody tell you who God is to you. You don't. That will mess it up. You go figure out who God is. And don't tell me, how am I going to do that? Google? No. The Bible. That's why we have it. That's why it's there. Start small. You start small. Pray. If that's it, pray. And I know you're probably thinking, well, I don't know how to pray. You can talk, can't you? Like when you talk to other people, let it be like that. It doesn't have to sound good. It doesn't have to sound great. It doesn't have to sound pretty. It's between you and God. Who else is going to hear you? Just talk to him like you're talking to a friend. Tell him about everything that you've gone through. Tell him why you've come to him. And that's what I did. I didn't necessarily pray the other prayers that I hear in church. I mean, I can't, because that's weird. But I went to him and I was like, God, this is me. And he was like, yes, I know who you are. I did make you. But I was like, God, this is me. I just told him. I just spoke. I just kept speaking. And yes, it's awkward because you are speaking to yourself, but you're not, but you just keep speaking and you just keep rolling. And once you get it off your chest and you just feel that freedom, that peace, that heavy weight lifted off of your shoulders, and you just tell him, God, this is everything that I am. This is who I am. Tell him all the good things. Tell him all the ugly things, the pretty things, the bad things. Tell them all to him, everything. He knows anyway, but just tell him, when Majority of the things is that we want to come to God, already being perfect, not realizing that he already knows everything about us. Like, you want to go to God being perfect and pretty, like as if you were invisible to him this whole time, and because you started praying, that's when you were revealed to him. That's weird. God already knows about you, whether you know about him or not. He knows everything about you. Whether you don't know God, whether you don't believe in God, I don't care. He already knows who you are. He already knows you. He made you in your mother's womb, fam. So he knows all the things, the secrets that you're hiding from other people, that you feel like you're going to hide from him, or you have to hide from him. He knows. So, nice try, but it's not going to work. So just tell him everything. No, and tell him what you would, I don't know. The rest is yours. I gave you at least the best that I could. And if you feel like you're going to do it differently, but don't hide anything. Nothing bad is going to happen if you hide anything. I'm just saying it's a waste of time. And it's also embarrassing. It is very embarrassing. It's like you're lying to him, but he knows. He knows. So, yeah. I know some parts of this podcast were confusing, but I was not trying to tell you to have a relationship. No. I was not trying to tell you how to have a relationship with God. I was just trying to express my relationship and my journey with him. And the outcome of it, I'm not going to tell you that the world is ending. You might as well start now. I'm not going to tell you that God can deliver, heal, everything. Yes, he can. He already knows he can. He already knows he can. I'm not going to try and prove God to you, but I'm going to try and encourage you, I guess, when you're ready, anytime. The Lord is he's an amazing person. I mean, an amazing power, because he's not a person, but he's great. And getting to know him, getting to dwell in his presence, having that person to talk to and tell everything to, literally everything. Because at times I feel like I annoy him, because I would literally talk to him about everything, including how my day went, even though he already knows and he was there. But I'll just be like, you know what, I'm gonna tell you anyway, because I feel like if the version I'm gonna tell it in is way better. But it's that relationship with God is not whatever it is that you were taught when you were young. Relationship with God is like having a relationship with a friend, except a friend whose trust, whose loyalty, whose power in your life will never go questioned. It's assured that he will show up, assured that he will do it for you. It's having the premium version of a best friend, because this best friend will always not only be there for you, but always provide for whatever it is that you need. I tried my best. I'm telling you, I tried. I told you at the beginning of the podcast that I am not good. I am not good with the whole trying to tell people about God thing. But I'm trying my best, and I'm slowly getting there. So this took a lot out of me to talk about this, because my whole podcast channel is about mental health. But I think my next video, my next video, I'm going to talk about God and the impact that he has had on my mental health, because as Christians, we do suffer from mental health, and I feel like that's one thing we should stop overlooking, and something that we should stop overshadowing, because we assume that, because I swear to God, I've been told that, oh, well, if you're depressed or anxious, you should probably check your connection with God, check your faith. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because in this season of depression and this everything, I've been with God, and I've been praying to God, and I've been talking to him. He knows everything. He knows the nights I've been crying, the nights I've been feeling low, angry. So what do you mean I should check my connection? And I feel like we should talk about that. I feel like the next episode we should talk about God and the importance of having him during your mental health journey and the impact that he has had on my mental health. So, guys, thank you so much if you have reached the end of the podcast. And you know what? You should probably clap hands for yourself for actually making it all the way here. Clap hands for yourself and give yourself a pat on the back, because if I was listening to this, I would have not made it all the way here. But thank you so much for joining me. And we'll meet again next week, Tuesday, y'all. Bye.